Hi again, and thank you for joining us for the after show. I'm Debbie Phillips, joined by Marcus Kunalakis and Dan Mulhern. Okay, guys, whoa, I am feeling so inspired and uplifted and just kind of blown away.
Well, I want to just jump in because I didn't say anything when she was talking about this relationship stuff being a dance. And as a Greek guy, I dance a lot, but in a very different way. It's not just two people dancing, it's like a whole string of people. So, when we dance, we sort of change the lead constantly, but it's usually in a circle and we're never really getting anywhere. But but she certainly talked about dancing and that dance of a relationship. And Dan, you clearly, that resonated with you. It did for me as well. Lenny and I regularly talk about it, that it is not a Greek dance, but it is, in fact, a partnership dance.
She just blew me away on so many levels. One is the truthfulness about the experience, the hardest 4 years of her life, or their life, I think she said, and the feeling of being like a single mother, and her hastening to add no disrespect meant, I think she meant the exact opposite, how much work it is that we don't appreciate single mothers do. And yet, such a powerhouse of activity, the ability to own that role at home as the lead, to see her awareness that her mood and issues and how she's managing the family affect him, and she wants to set him up for success. I mean, wow, what an incredible partner. I found it exhausting, you guys. Did you at all?
Well, I'm actually really tired. And at the same time, I'm so inspired. And I loved in all of that you just said, Dan. I love the moments that she talked about that were really tender and personal between her and her better half. The fact they would make smoothies with each other, they'd make the bed together, that he made her the margaritas, that she'd go sit on his lap. I think these things are so important as better halves to know we have these big, big lives, but to grab those moments of just tenderness and love that connects us to each other, because we know we stay together and we're successful when we can do even those little mini experiments together.
Something that struck me, of course, which is she's much younger. When I was doing this as the spouse of an ambassador, when Dan was the spouse of a governor, we had small kids too. And those pressures are obvious, but I don't recall, while I recall having those pressures and responsibilities and support for my wife, I don't remember having that much energy or being as driven as she is. Driven in a positive sense, and she's driven to really have an impact. And she explained partly what that was, right? I mean, the incident with her sister passing away. But even without that, I think she her energy seems limitless, and it is remarkable.
Exactly. It must be something in those smoothies that she drinks in the morning.
Or being with all those animals in the menagerie. She's got goats in the yard.
The other thing I'm so curious about the two of you. You two, I love you as my partners because you're so forward thinking. You care so much about figuring out how can I be an amazing, better half to my incredibly talented spouse. I'd love to know from each of you, what's one thing she said about being a better half that you really took to heart?
That's an easy one for me, Debbie, to know, and a hard one to do, which is contribute with acts of service. The women's care is underappreciated, care of children and care of the house. And she was quick to add how the research says this is about the best darn thing you can do yourself. And I think there's something about that. So she really made me, even at my age, want to, get off the couch, turn off the Warriors or the Pistons, and do the little things that make a difference.
And I guess for me, it's communication and how key that is, not just in governing, not just in being able to align a nation or a state, but how important it is and continues to be to make sure that you've got a loving, supportive, respectful relationship. Because if you have two love languages, how do you bridge that gap? Well, by communicating. It's something that we always talk about, and I certainly work on professionally, but you got to work on it at home,
Right,
and that's not always easy because there are so many other things involved.
Great points, both of you. And you're both amazing better halves. And I know you're constantly working at it. And I thought she just added so many great suggestions for anybody who's listening. That's a wrap. We'll see you next time.